Hi, everybody. This is the Inventors Roundtable Virtual West on May 8th, 2025. And I cannot believe how fast the weeks fly by and the months these days. It's almost kind of scary. So anyway, if all of a sudden we disappear, it's because there's really bad thunderstorms rolling through. And when my fiber optics goes, so do I. Anyway, our guest speaker tonight is John Thompson. He is the founder and CEO of Fruition Labs out of Denver, Colorado. I lived there for 20 years, John. Cannot believe I never met you. So anyway, we are really glad to have you, and you help inventors go through those sexy prototypes, teeing up for manufacturing. And I was hoping that Wendy would be able to join us tonight because you got her teed up for ASD Market Week last year. She had a ton of success last year. People didn't want to buy a case, they wanted to buy a pallet. So she started then manufacturing, and she's gotten caught now in that tug of war over tariffs. And I've got a lot of inventors who have got products sitting on a dock. They wonder, how long do they wait? When do they just bite it and order it to be made? And so, you know, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, from somebody calls you like a Wendy to helping them decide what to do about nasty things like tariffs.
You got it. Yeah, I was just talking to Wendy about an hour ago. She actually has her website up, is not advertising, is getting sales on it, and doesn't know how. So
yeah,
it's a problem to have. It's
yeah.
So again, John Thompson. Hi, everybody. Founder of Fruition Labs, co-founder of Fruition Labs. My background, like many of you, is in inventing. I didn't start out to be an inventor. Invention found me. I just found out I was really good at coming up with product ideas. And about 25 years ago now, I was in the room when we came up with the idea for the Aero Garden, which is a little countertop garden that lets you grow lettuce, tomatoes, herbs indoors on your kitchen counter. And over the course of the following 20 years, we developed the technology, built it, and took it to market, drove it to $120 million in annual sales, selling about 1 million units a year, doing it all ourselves, James. It was a blast. Finally sold that company to Scott's Miracle-Gro in 2021. And I took some early retirement from Scott's soon thereafter, and founded Fruition Labs. During that 20 years of building Aero Garden, hundreds of product launches in there. We had, really inexpensive gardens up to $800 gardens, using really advanced technology, helped drive the use of LEDs as grow lights and other things. And did all that manufacturing in China throughout the years with about probably 15 to 20 different manufacturers, and learned a lot during that process, and realized that people who had good ideas they wanted to bring to market needed help doing that in many cases. And so when we founded Fruition Labs, it was with the idea of helping smaller businesses, medium-sized businesses, and straight-up entrepreneurs get to market faster. We take anything from a napkin sketch to advanced drawings. We work with companies that have 5 engineers on staff, and folks like Rita was talking about, Wendy, that just had a product idea and a rough sample she had sewn together. We are able, through our resources in China, to take those things from ideas to manufacturing, into tooling, and build out the supply chain and get all that going from lots of places around the world. The best, I'll probably get into some arguments here, but the best tool and die manufacturers and the fastest and the least expensive in the world these days are in China. They have the biggest, boldest supply chains. When you talk about supply chains, if you're building anything electric, part of that supply chain is coming from China, 99 times out of 100. So supply chains tend to start there. And definitely, we've experienced over the last month what happens when you disrupt that supply chain, and what's going on. And I'll talk more about the tariffs and things too. But essentially, Fruition, if we like the idea, we have design engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and access to tool and die makers, and the supply chain project managers. We supply all that for free. to get the entrepreneur with a great idea to market. We make our money in on the manufacturing side. So when we manufacture, when you sell, we sell, basically. That doesn't always work perfectly with Rita's model of licensing and things like that, but it works pretty well for most entrepreneurs. If you want to sell yourself, or if you have a company already built and you're adding products to that line, but don't have 10 engineers on staff to get there, we're a big help in that too. And our clients run the gamut from exercise equipment, scent diffusers, indoor gardens, mushroom growers, garden tools, electrics, air purifiers, hummingbird feeders, humidifiers, just about anything you can think of, ranging in price from 99 cents a unit on up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars, about $4,000 a unit actually. So and we can run all that all the way up. It's been fun to do, and I've helped lots of interesting people. I love working with entrepreneurs and just the that spirit of adventure that everybody has in inventing. I am probably, because I'm also a marketing guy, a little less a stickler for patents, because I don't think a lack of ability to get a patent, because a lot of spaces are crowded, should necessarily block you from launching a product, but you have to know how you're going to launch it. You've only got about 6 months to run if you are successful before somebody else is in it. But in that 6 months with a great product, you can make a lot of money. And so if you're well funded, if you've done it before, if you're organized and do those things. So we also sell products that we invent on Amazon and other places through social media, Amazon and the rest. So never competing with any of our clients, of course. So it's been a blast, and I think the most interesting part for me is really helping inventors really define their products when they come with an idea and really no idea how to make it, figuring out that design for manufacturing that takes it from an idea that, for example, is going to cost $100 to manufacture to an idea that has all the same features and benefits, but is going to cost $18 to manufacture, and then be a lot easier to get to market and succeed in market. Lots of talk lately about tariffs and how they do it. As you were saying, Rita, we have customers who literally are holding their finished goods in China waiting for tariffs to drop. If you're making a $10 product right now, you've got a $15 tariff on top of that $10 cost to bring it over right now, and that just blows up any margin plan you ever had. And so a lot of folks doing that. A lot of people are doing all the work that they need to do to get the product ready in the real good hope, and I think it's beyond a hope, that that tariff does come down. So getting everything ready and ready to go. In the meantime, I am taking advantage of the chaos, I think, that's been caused by meeting lots of U.S. manufacturers. We're expanding our network in Mexico, where we can already manufacture things, and expanding outside of China into Southeast Asia, into Malaysia, Thailand, where we already have good relationships, but just trying to expand those, because in the first weeks after the 145% tariff got announced, all of the capacity of Malaysia and Thailand and Vietnam just got sucked right out of the system. And they're all looking for workers right now and don't have enough people to work at the factories to meet the demand that's there. So I think that's a lot about me. I'm glad to talk more, answer questions.
Product details from Amazon. Long runner 5X geared stepper motor, 48 5V stepper motor. I can add.
Okay, who's talking?
It sounded like me, but
sorry. My Alexa started yapping before I could cut off the mic there. Sorry about that.
I was going to say that sounds a lot like Alexa. So my daughter has one, and so the things that we're running into are kind of like just like you said, John, that some folks are looking at do they have an option in the U.S. We're putting together a list of different manufacturers that can either do a short run, feet on the ground in the U.S., maybe a bigger run, to kind of tie things together for inventors. And, you're right in the fact that people are gearing up and changing. I know that Cheryl Manufacturing, that does flatware, they're doing some of those short runs as long as it's a metal, because that's what they do is steel flatware. And, then Stitch Kentucky is working on anything that is a textile and gearing up. The funny thing with Stitch Kentucky is that they had the contract to make all of the Toyota seats.
Nice.
And Toyota brought that in-house in the plant that's in Kentucky. So then all of a sudden now they've got this capacity that's not even close to being met.
Yes.
And they have just been swamped with requests over the last month, to go ahead and do, short runs in the US. And, Stacy is an inventor herself, so she knows exactly what the inventors have gone through.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun to, participate and see things coming back, seeing what can be done. What are the options? I feel sorry for the folks like Wendy who are stuck with a dilemma. Being on the dock, one of our guys has got 10,000 units sitting there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't know whether he should, jump and swim or, just wait it out.
It is not unusual right now. The nice thing is that most of the factories that I'm seeing and that are working with it, and even some of the freight forwarders are willing to hold those products right now and are not squawking much because they realize the situation everybody's in too. And so mostly everybody has been, while our heads of state are not being good at being friendly, the business people are, and that's been really nice. Yeah. And it looks like, we woke up today to, softened language, maybe if not an end in sight, at least some things starting to come down. They're meeting in Geneva on Saturday, and I'm sure looking forward to any results that are coming out by the time we're up and about on Saturday morning. They'll have been talking for quite a few hours. So I'm hoping we have good news there. I don't really expect it, though. I think this is a months-long process to get maybe back down to the 25% that we had, and not we wake up on Monday morning and it's 25% again. And,
I'm thinking, we're 3 months into this term, and I'm looking at probably another 3 months. My prediction is 3 months before they've got anything significant going on with China. So in the meantime, inventors, especially the ones that are just getting started, got their prototype now, and they say, well, I don't want to, I can't pull that trigger. So let's find out what we can do in the US.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to a few inventors. It's like, all right, let's take a look at that prototype. How do we, make it so that it doesn't require all that plastic? How do we make it so that, it's foldable and takes less store shelf? How do we make it, so we can do it here in the US?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of that. Mexico's a great option too. And I think one thing that the last month or so of trade war has taught us is that I think a lot will be going to Mexico. I've been down to Monterrey a lot of times. They're investing heavily in the infrastructure they need to build out down there. And I think that will help. In the US is awesome. It's just hard to hit the price points that we're used to in the US still. And I think it will be for another 3 to 5 years, honestly. I think it's a longer path to get where we need to go to get the short run automation that's needed to get there. So in the meantime, I think it was David that brought up in our kind of pre-talk maker spaces. And almost every town has good maker spaces now. And we have clients that are going to market with 3D printed products and having success and doing that off of you need to get to high capacity, but you can test market with products made at the maker spaces these days. And that's really good. James, you had talked about doing it all yourself. If you can get fluent with some of the 3D software and get a nice under $500 3D printer on your desktop, you can take things pretty far, pretty fast at a lot lower cost sometimes than some of the prototype houses are charging.
And that's exactly what I did. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
No, and I've seen so many people do some really good 3D print jobs, and some of it is, the skill set. All right. So if you've got that ability to learn how to do it and the CAD drawings to feed it, more power to you. I've seen a lot of people to Ian Osborne. Because he did all of his own. And then once his were in the marketplace, I would send Inventors to him, and he and his son in the garage would just have a heck of a good time. Yeah. And when you can do it, and I send a lot of them to local maker spaces, it's like, check with your local library, local college, wherever you need to. Most metropolitan areas have at least one reasonable maker space. And you go in there and you find somebody like a James and says, oh yeah, let me help you out. And it's a lot less, especially when you're looking for that proof of concept.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people, it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to work. And they either go back to the drawing board, or somebody like a James says, but it might work if we did it this way.
Yes. Yeah.
And they learn a lot by testing those prototypes when they haven't spent $10,000 on a mold.
Yeah. And getting to a finished prototype is just really, it separates things out because when you have a working prototype, you can run it by people, you can put it on the desk, you can see what it looks like. There's a big difference between seeing a napkin sketch or even a nice 3D render on a computer screen, or setting that product on your desk and seeing if it looks right there. So that 3D printing really accelerates that process. And the watch out there is you can 3D print things that you can't necessarily manufacture. And so or at least manufacture at scale and at low cost. And so you can kind of back yourself into a corner sometime, but good engineers can back you right out of that corner pretty quickly too.
Yeah, well, there's companies out there that do 3D printing for replacement parts that would cost tens of thousands of dollars, and for $500 they do a part that goes into a machine that the machine is $250,000. I know my daughter works for a company that does protein makers, and they make this machine that will help Stanford and Vanderbilt, and she's been to China, and she goes, well, I can't say I went to Harvard, but I can say I taught at Harvard, because all of their clients then are these big research places. Yes. And when those machines break down, they don't want to spend $250,000 on a new machine when the part can be made with rapid prototyping and replace it for $5,000.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we see a lot more of that, and it certainly makes sense. Prototyping is so much easier these days than it was even 15 years ago.
Yep. Yep. Even in those machines and stuff, you can make full metal 3D printed things now. Yep. And that is just that blew my mind when I was looking at that for the first time. So yeah.
Yeah, 3D printing technology now is becoming ridiculous. It's really cool.
It is.
Yeah, and the range of materials that you can 3D print. I mean, they're constantly coming up with something. I have like big stacks of materials because they keep improving the materials, and I'll buy like 5 or 10 rolls of PLA plus, and then they come up with something else, and then there's the rapid and the whole bit. So I keep buying all this stuff here.
Yes. Well, when we were first working on AeroGarden, this is in the early 2000s, we had kind of developed the base technology that was going to work and grow plants. And so now the question was, what form factors can you put it in to hit what retailers, if you remember retailers? So we were, developing a form factor for kind of all the major retail players out there. And at the time we bought our 3D printer, it cost as much as my house. So it was a crazy one. Oh no, the storm just hit.
Now you can get a good 3D printer for under $300.
Yes.
And the STL, the modeling software is free.
Yes.
A lot of places. In fact, I wrote a book on 3D modeling.
Nice.
Using OpenSCAD, which is one of the free modeling things, and of course the slicer is free. So basically, your cost is under $300 for a 3D printer, and maybe $30 for a couple of rolls of the material.
It's true, and for most people who are somewhat fluent just with Microsoft Office Suite, your book, a weekend and a few YouTube videos, and you're that close to making some fairly complex shapes. So
yeah.
The 3D printer I told you about that I bought for $70 Canadian used on Marketplace. I spent $14 on a new part that was broken, and it was old, but it worked, and that's why I did all of it. It came with the coil too. So that's all I needed. It was great. 70 Canadian dollars.
How fun is
You
that?
can buy the 3D printer and all the materials you need for a heck of a lot less than it would cost to pay somebody to prototype your thing for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
And then like I say, if you can find a makerspace in your area, there will. I mean, ours have you know, metalworking equipment, you know, lathes and all sorts of things, and so yeah, if you can find one of those, you can probably get just about anything you need done.
Yep.
A lot of the libraries here in Denver have, each one of them has a 3D printer. I think they have some laser engravers too, although they do say that your prints have to be less than 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Which rolls out all of mine.
With the maker spaces, there's commercial ones where you have a monthly fee or something like that per person. It's usually low at $30 to $70 or something. But then you have access to all the equipment, drill presses and stuff that you're never going to get at home. But you do usually have to be trained on each one. So it takes a little time investment. So you don't lose fingers on the way and things like that.
But the people who those places was really cool. Like the best conversations to get distracted with are from people who really know their stuff about 3D printers, or they've got their own little booth where they do some specific project that's really interesting.
Yep.
Or you can pay one of these people fairly little money to do it. You know, if you got somebody who knows how to work the metal lathe, or, you know, or something like that, you say, look, I'll give you $25 to just, you know, make this little part for me or something. You know.
Yep. They're there for love as much as anything. So yeah. They like doing
John, I didn't quite catch what you're. First of all, are you still with this company or whatever it is that does this stuff?
Yeah, Fruition Labs. Yeah, we're full-time engaged, and if anything, our work level's sped up in the last month, not slowed down, because although most of our engineers are based in China, those engineers just are really good at making things. It's what they sit down and wake up to every morning, is modeling files and figuring out how to make the parts so that they can be assembled in the right way so that it's manufacturable. And whether we take that manufacturing then to Malaysia or Vietnam or Mexico or the US, all the work still needs to be done to get that design for manufacturing finished. We also do a lot of prototyping. Our prototyping is essentially free except for material cost. And we do that. But it's we have to believe in the product that we're working on, and we have to believe in the entrepreneurial team that can bring it to market. Because again, we don't make our money on the prototype; we make our money on the manufacturing. So we have to see that project through, which is a different level of belief than a prototyping company that will do the prototype but charge you $10,000 because that's how they make their money.
So if an inventor comes to you and they've got the idea, and say they've already got the design and even a fairly simple prototype, you would then find a manufacturer and set up the marketing, or do you just help them with that, or what? So
if you came to the door with a prototype, so I'll give you a really recent one. I met at a trade show with a finished prototype. They had 3 versions of prototype, and they were at the trade show selling, looking for retailers, distributors, and the rest. But they didn't have a manufacturer, and they did, this wasn't a licensing thing. They want to take this and make this their product and sell it into the market. And so we look at things like, are they funded? Because that's the biggest killer of an entrepreneur's dream, is just getting to the place where you have to pay $40,000 for the tool, but you don't have those kind of funds. If they're not funded, do they have the skills or chops to be able to raise money? Are they skilled enough to do in friends and family network? Because until they can pay for the tooling, there's no chance of selling the product either.
Okay, so the inventor has to pay for getting the manufacturing up and everything. Which you basically put them in touch with the manufacturer and everything.
No, we managed the whole process. We did the manufacturing. So I'll get back to it. So they had good drawings, good concept. It's definitely a concept that I know will work in market just from years of being in marketing. And so it's not really patentable. but it's a first to market concept that can run pretty quickly to get out there. And so we took their prototype and drawings and then started to look at, does this work the way we expect it to? The answer there was no. So it wasn't doing everything correctly. And then starting to just re-engineer all the parts so they can be injection molded, assembled quickly, and made at a lower cost per unit than the original prototype that we had. And so we provide all that free. And right now we're in the midst of testing efficacy just to make sure that it's going to do what it's intended to do. And I think we're going to have to make a couple of additional changes there. But we put all the engineering effort into that. And we have engineers right now, my friends, good friends from decades of work in China, who are doing the engineering work on this to make it work and to make it cheap enough to sell, to be able to make it for that. And then we find the right manufacturing partner. We work with over 100 factories in China that make everything that you can imagine making in China. Walk into Walmart, we're making all that stuff. And we work with one of those factories to take it to the manufacturing process. Now, in there's tooling, and that's usually the biggest, prototyping patents are early barriers, but the real one is tooling. If you're tooling a household electrics product, you're somewhere between $20,000 and $150,000 just for the tools that will make the part, right? And those are the injection mold tools that'll do it. And that is a big barrier for a lot of inventors that are just kind of have a great idea but don't know how to get there. And that's why they take the licensing path or something, because they can sell it to somebody who does have those resources. But most of our clients do that. And if you're working in fabric or something like that, then the tooling costs are almost nothing. Got a client right now, it's mostly a wood product. And so there's not much tooling cost to. But I'm working with another young entrepreneur who has a $200,000 tool in his future. And I just believe in that product, and I believe in his ability to raise the money to get there. And so we put all those things into the shaker, and I'd say we probably don't work with about half the people that approach us, and do work with about half the people that approach us, just based on a combination of believing in the product, that ability of the entrepreneur to fund it through to completion, or raise the funding to fund it through to completion, and just that third thing of, can they sell? Do they have the skills to be able to take this to market and sell enough of them that we can make our money in the manufacturing part of it? And so we have a very different model. It's almost venture manufacturing, in that we'll take on 10 new clients a year, and 3 of them have to get big, and 3 of them probably won't, and 3 of them will bounce around in the middle. 3 or 4 will bounce around in the middle. And the hope is the ones that make it big enough that they kind of fund the rest of them.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm almost 74 now, and I'm not interested in getting into manufacturing business. I would just like to take my inventions and license them out, or sell them outright, or whatever the case.
I really want to talk to you more about that, because I get too attached to my ideas and then spend 20 years on them. And it's worked out okay for me. It's been a fine career, but I get attached to the ideas, and I want to see them on shelf, and I want to see them at Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond, when there was such a thing, and in Walmart and those places. So.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've marketed over 100 inventions.
Yes.
And the software I sell myself as shareware.
Yes.
I have a website, and you download it, and it works for a month, and then it stops working until you pay me.
Yes. Yes.
Which is, the cost to me is very low.
Yeah.
I don't even have to manufacture anything.
Yes.
Just download it and everything.
Yep.
And so that was my main business. But a lot of my inventions, I just wrote up an article or something for like Popular Electronics, and sold them the invention. Here, give me $400 or something. It's something I whipped up in a couple of hours or something, and you give me $400 and publish it as an article, as a how-to, do-it-yourself article or something.
That's awesome. It looks like you're sitting in exactly the right space for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, like I said, I can do electronics, I can do 3D printing, and if I need anything else, I go to the makerspace where I have reciprocal deals with the people. Basically, you know, they need help with designing the electronics of their thing, and I need help, you know, doing the metalworking or something of the thing, and so we just trade off or work on a, you know, you give me, you know, I'll design the electronics for your thing, and you give me, you know, 10% of whatever you make off of it or something. There's all sorts of ways you can do it.
Yeah, yeah. I love the licensing part of it. That's really interesting. I don't know who to talk to, but I guess you and Rita are probably great resources for that. So I'll talk to you later.
You need what?
You and Rita are probably great people to talk to for licensing contracts and people that are interested in that model. So.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, one of the big problems. I mean, I got a couple of things being looked at by people. But I mean, like one of my latest inventions is a pool maintenance product, you know, a home pool maintenance.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to find any pool maintenance people who are interested in looking at other people's designs.
Yes.
There's some companies that actually have websites that say, send us your ideas.
Yes.
You know, I haven't found any of those for you know, pool tool you know, things or something. So that's my big problem, finding the people to license to.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The entrepreneurs I know in pool maintenance supply are in China. They make pool maintenance supplies, but approaching them with ideas is, you know, different than approaching a licensing company that's used to working through those issues. So, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm talking, I mean, I know there are a lot of companies that, you know, probably in the United States, of course, they probably, you know, outsource the actual manufacturing, but, you know, there are obviously a lot of companies that make things like, you know, the pool skimmers and the, you know, the little, all the little things you use to take care of your pool. But I haven't found any of them that have said, hey, anybody got any ideas for these things? You know?
Yes. Yeah. There's, they've got the robot skimmers now, kind of like the iRobots for your carpet at home. And, those are getting bigger, and I see some that are attaching UV to it and things like that, so they're purifying at the same time.
You can get those that mow your lawns now too. I've seen those; they're fascinating. They're really, really cool.
I've actually got one of those things. It goes along the surface, you know, got a little paddle wheel, and it runs all back and forth around the pool and sucks up all the leaves that are in there. Got about a month ago, so I love it. You know,
nice.
But this is basically an attachment to the net skimmer that you use, and just a little. You know, it would only cost, you know, probably they'd probably sell it for maybe $10 or something, and it's an attachment that makes that work better. And so, like I said, I'm looking for somebody that basically makes pool skimmers, you know, the pool skimmer nets or something that would like an enhancement to their pool skimmer net.
Yes. Yeah. Nice.
You know, like I said, finding these people or something.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I can definitely hook you. So most of the innovation in market these days actually seems to come kind of from customers with ideas, and that swims upstairs to the manufacturers, who then sell to distributors and get it out into the marketplace. You know, it's strange things for me. When I get a new hobby, within days of having that new hobby, I've got 15 new product ideas for it, and it's just a matter of trying to figure out which ones you can get to market inexpensively, because you know, I don't have $500,000 to launch the product. And
exactly. And like I said, at my age, I'm not really interested in getting into manufacturing or something. Although I am actually just starting to experiment with the idea of things that I could 3D print and sell on Etsy.
Yes.
Just as you know, the requirement is it's got to be something I can manufacture cheaply and easily, and it's small enough to fit in an envelope that I can stick in my mailbox, so I don't have to go out and stand in line at the post office or the UPS shipping these things.
Yep. When we built the AeroGarden line, we were selling at one point about $50 million plus on Amazon per year. And it created such an infrastructure that there was a whole community of people who were 3D printing parts that didn't make sense for us to manufacture at scale, but they would print them and sell them on Amazon to passionate AeroGarden users. And that community still exists there, although it's really hard for them to gain audience on Amazon because the keywords are expensive. So
yeah, there was some guy who basically invented a part for drones that breaks easily. In fact, it's a sacrificial part. It's designed to break. You know, if the rotors get caught in a tree or something,
right,
and you could, like, you know, manufacture these for like 20 cents and sell them for $10. And he had his you know, 3D printers. You know, he had like, you know, 20 3D printers running around the clock, and he was selling these things.
Yes,
Making a fortune.
Yep. I met a gentleman from Hungary this year who was doing a Lego-like set all on 3D printers. So and selling 10,000 a year. So yeah, amazing stuff.
But my point is that with your company, you've got a person's got to be willing to fund the manufacturing and everything, right?
Yeah. And unless you've got like the licensee lined up too, but a lot of the licensors, a lot of them already have manufacturing facilities that they like to work through and things like that. They've got the partnerships because they have, you know, 50 products in their product line or whatever that they're taking out. So yeah, in our model, we have to see a manufacturing potential in the future because other than that, we're basically giving away our services for free. And people, it's never happened, but you could definitely come and work through it with us and move somewhere else or do something else. But by the time we get you know, that close to manufacturing with people, they're usually pretty excited to get the product. We had a woman who's here in the Denver area as well. She lives up in Evergreen. She just finished a very novel bird feeder, landed the first container about 3 weeks ago and is essentially sold out and has 10x the size of her next container that she's manufacturing. And, you know, you meet some people and you just know they're going to do it. You know that their passion for it is so great that they're going to overcome any barrier in the way and eventually sell 100,000 a year. She's well on the way, and it's just exciting to watch. And she can't sleep right now because she's so
cool.
Hey, John, I have a question for you. Do you have a designer on your staff?
Yeah, we have a very good design team actually.
Okay.
Usually, what we'll do is like we'll take the napkin sketch or even a pretty good design from a customer, and have the engineers look at it, give any first round feedback, and then take it through the designers to say this is what it'll look like in a manufacturable form, if you will, or if it's just before that and all it is. So I'll give you an example in the janitorial space. So there's a product that mounts on the wall and distributes scent in areas that need good scent and odor control. And you know, they had 4 previous versions that they'd had to market since the 70s, and were looking for an upgrade. We took that to our design team, showed them the 4 previous samples, you know, gave them some constraints that we're looking for upgrades. And you know, the design team comes back with kind of 4 examples, A, B, C, and D. And then there's an iterative process with the client where we go back and say, you know, I really like this part of this A, but I only like this part of B, and I like the size or general shape of C. Can you mash that all up and try again? And they take another swing at it and do it that way. So yeah, we go all the way from design through QC. Honestly, we either hook up the quality control with the factory with like one of the big teams like SGS or something like that in China that provides those services on an ongoing, or we have our internal QC teams too that can go in and do it for a little less money. But to me, that always feels like the fox watching the hen house. I like to have that third-party validation on that, but really inexpensive to do those things too. So yeah, design all the way through. Yeah.
John, I have a question for you, John.
Yep.
Are you hiring?
No, it is quite honestly the best job in the world. And you can shoot me a note later, James. So yeah,
I would love to do that. I'm in Denver. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have manufacturing background.
Yeah.
I'd love to connect with you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm down in Monument, so just I'll be driving through Denver tomorrow on the way to visit a client. We're we're kicking off a major new launch, and it'll be a fun afternoon up there. So yeah.
Exciting, cool stuff. Yeah,
What are you
touch
gonna
base
What
with
are you
you
gonna
after.
launch, John? What are you gonna launch?
I can't talk about that, but it's in the garden space. I'll put it that way.
Okay, it's classified.
Yeah, yeah. It's far enough to pre-launch that I just I can't talk about that one.
Yeah, okay, understand.
Oh, because of my background at AeroGarden, a lot of my clients have garden ideas and are in that garden space. I seem to attract it. So, but it's fun because it's a passion of mine.
Well, I tell you, I worked in aerospace for 35 years. I retired, and I didn't stop designing. So I've got my own CAD system.
Of course.
Okay, and I think of the ideas and little simple things like this. Let's see if I can hold this thing up. It's basically a phone holder.
Nice.
Took me maybe an hour to design it, and about 5 hours to print it.
Yeah.
And it works.
Color. George, did you dip that or something? Is that like with an acetone dip to get that smooth surface? Or
That's the filament. It's purple.
yeah,
Just
that's
like
a
that.
really nice print. Yeah, nice.
I made a phone holder too.
Nice.
It's adjustable like this.
It looks like a lawn chair. I
Yeah,
like it.
This is one of the examples in my book. Each example is intended to demonstrate something. This demonstrates, the little rotor thing or something.
Yep.
So
I think George and David, you should get together, because I think that a classic lawn chair with kind of that weaving on it, that bad plastic weaving, would probably sell well as a phone holder on Amazon, because if you could get that classic look, it would be pretty fun. Yeah, nice.
Well, David, I got your name written down.
you got my email address is my last name at AOL.com.
Well, that easy. Okay.
So and if you go on Amazon and put in my name in the search thing, you'll get a list of all the books I've written.
You're an author too. Wow.
At least all the ones that are currently on the market.
Yeah.
You're really into royalties, aren't you, David?
Yeah, I like having income.
Nice.
I did like 4 books like 40 years ago or something, and then I kind of lapsed it or something. This is another thing I do, like I said, an article or a whole book or something on how to build something or something. So yeah, if you go on there and you'll find my book on 3D modeling with OpenSCAD and a lot of other stuff. But yeah, feel free and I tell you, send me an email with your information too. I mean, that's the easiest way, since
I just put my email into chat here, so you can anybody's welcome to reach out to me. I love talking to other people that are facing the same problems and exploring the same things I'm doing. So
yeah, where's the chat on this thing?
in my screen, it's the lower right hand side, a little text box.
Oh yeah, okay. I got something that says people.
Yep. It's right next to the people icon to the right.
Okay.
In the window, anyway.
Chat with everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm viewing this on my phone, John, and I saw it flash John Dash, and that's all I got wrote down.
I'll spell it as John, John.
John what? I'm sorry?
John, which is John.
Okay.
At fruitionlabs.com, and I'll spell that because it's fruition, Fruition, and then there's a dash in it, labs.com. Fruition.
Dash labs?
Yep, -labs.com.
Okay. All right, so that's the best contact information. John Dash. Is it John Dash or John?
John at fruition dash.
Oh, John at. Okay, there we go. Now I got it right.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'd love to talk, and if we need quick 3D modeling and aerospace wings, we know who to talk to. David and George, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can design stuff, or you could buy my book and then you'll know everything.
Nice. That's awesome. James, I'd love to talk to you too. Let's get together and have a lunch or something like that. So yeah. My work day.
I love that. Thanks.
from about 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. because I spend my evenings talking to China and my friends over there. And Alexa's just ringing right now to tell me that I have another call starting at 7. So I'm going to jump off to prepare for that. But it was great meeting you all, and I love this community. And thanks for inviting me into it. So good to be chatting.
Thanks a lot, John. Lovely chatting with you.
Yeah.
Don, it was a pleasure.
I hope Rita's okay.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
hope
John.
Okay. Bye.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna just and
Team, I have to jump off to. It was lovely to meet you all, and I'll see you next month.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So, David, it's you and me.
Yes.
I did a lot of listening on this particular chat because I want to hear what other people are doing, and then I know what I'm doing, and it's fun. One of the things I've got right now is this. Let's see if I can hold it up. It's called Quick Leash, and it's designed to go. Let's see if I can do this thing right around a dog's leash or heart or his collar, and it comes right off real easy. And hopefully we'll get that patented in the next month or so. And it's an upgrade, and it's an easier version of dog leash to use, especially for people with, say, arthritis in their hands.
Yeah. I'll kind of cheat a little bit and show you what I was talking about with the pool thing. If you're familiar, you've got those little nets you use to skim the leaves off the top of the pool and everything. And those work really good skimming stuff off the top, but they're really bad for scooping stuff off the bottom.
Correct.
They're going along, and it's perpendicular to the bottom. And so what this is just an attachment there. You put this in the pole, and you put the net in here, and it turns it into a 90-degree angle. So it becomes a scooper.
Oh.
So you can see you've got your pole here and your net here. So now the net is scraping along the bottom. And this is a little thing here that it's a thing. So like I said, yeah, so that's like I said, I think it's a reasonably good idea, and it would be very cheap, and it could be sold by the same people that sell the nets. It's just a matter of finding somebody who wants it. Like a lot of my inventions, I invented for my own use, and then say, hey, why don't I try selling it?
Yeah. Well, you're going to be the one to demonstrate it and see the value in it and the usefulness in it, and why not share the technology to people who are willing to pay for it.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Well, one thing that an easy way to make a small amount of money is to put up the 3D STL file on one of these websites where you can sell your STL files.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I've made about maybe $60 or $70 doing that. My biggest seller is a hydroponic tower for growing stuff. But anyway, like I said, I'm always interested in getting together with other people and working on things together. In fact, the reason I wanted to form this Inventors group was to get people together to collaborate on projects like I was talking about.
Right.
I've got at the moment, I think, 3 projects with people in my makerspace that I have, formed agreements with, where I have contributed something to their invention, and I'm going to get a small percentage if they sell it, like that. And so, that's always a great thing. And so I'd love to get a whole bunch of people who need help with the electronics or or maybe the prototyping. I can prototype the invention for
right.
for us. Instead of them laying out cash, I'll take 5% or so, whatever they got for having made them a prototype.
My biggest dream is to sell an idea and collect a royalty, and have that be an additional source of income, and then that would lead into the next item and the next item, and allow you to travel and see people and develop ideas that are profitable. I don't want to make 20 million. I just want to make enough to support my retirement. That's it.
Well, one nice thing is that that if you're doing this, you can write off a lot of your stuff on your taxes. You know,
Right.
I mean, I can write off my 3D printers and my computers and all the electronic parts I buy and everything on my taxes and everything, and I can say, yeah, and then my 3D printer is used entirely for this, which actually, it's amazing how many uses you can find for a 3D printer. Just making stuff around the house you need fixed.
I've done a lot of that. Yes.
Yeah, I've lost count of how many things I've repaired by making the part with my 3D printer.
Okay. So David, you have a website. You also have an email. Did you say it's your last name.com?
My last name at AOL.com.
At AOL.
At AOL.com.
AOL.
My house at AOL.com.
LEITHAUSER at AOL.com. Got it.
Yeah. And as I said, if you put in my full name, David Lighthouser, on Amazon, you'll get a list of about 12 books or something. I'm
Okay.
currently marketing there, and my company, my software company, is lighthouserresearch.com. My last name plus research, all one word, .com, and that's where you'd see a list of software that I market.
Okay.
I'm actually about to discontinue that. It's stuff for PCs, and these days nobody's using PCs; they're all using tablets.
Yeah.
So I'm not making money off of that anymore.
Well, David, let me connect with you on your website, and then, or not your website, but your email, and then you can, if the email, send me all that other stuff. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no particular reason for you to be interested in my software or anything, but I was just, giving you a feel for how I've sold things. I mean,
Yeah.
I've sold some things myself, mostly software and things like that. Some stuff by writing them up as an article. Some stuff I license out to somebody to make.
Sure.
Something like that.
Do you have a
Jesse, you have
website,
something to
David?
say? Yeah.
Jesse, I was saying that I have a website where I sell my software.
Oh, that's what you were saying. Okay, all right.
And
Also on here, all it has is our first names. And I heard you saying you're at AOL.com, and it's LEIT, because I don't have your last name in front of me.
you don't see that? I'm seeing
It
everybody.
just says David and George.
I'm seeing everybody's full name. That's interesting.
Mine
Okay.
too.
I'm on my phone, not on a computer, by the way.
Oh.
Okay, that'll do it. Yeah. Okay. My last name is LEITHAUS.
Oh, whoa! I'm sorry. LEIT.
T is in Tom.
Okay, 2 T's.
No, LEIT. T is in
Okay,
Tom.
got that.
HAU.
Oh, HA.
S is in Superman. ER.
Ooh, okay. Let me see if I got that right. LEIT HASER.
The HAUSER.
Oh, Hauser. Hauser.
Light is pronounced Lighthouser. It's a German name. So it's LEIT as in Tom, HAUS as in Superman, E as in Robert.
Okay, is there an R on the end?
Yes, there's an R on the end.
Okay, well then, yeah, I have it correct then. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and that at AOL.com is my email address.
Okay.
And put a subject line like Inventor meeting on it, because I get like a couple hundred emails a day or something, and I try to, zip through it, delete the
Well,
stuff.
or I'll mention even Rita Inventors meeting or.
Well, just say Inventors meeting, and I can then do a search for the word inventor.
Okay, Inventor meeting. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I can do a search for Inventor in the in the little box, and that'll bring up all the email with that in the in either the email address or the title or the subject line.
Well, George and David, it's been enjoyable, but I need to get off here now myself.
Yeah,
You all have a great evening.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll get off of here too. It's about 9 o'clock here. And so, unless you have something else you wanted to ask me or say something, George.
I was just looking your name up on the internet. I've got you here, I think.
Yeah, if you just do David Lighthouser. Let's see. I pull up. It doesn't tell me how many things I pulled up.
Okay.
What they used to tell you how many things you pulled up or something. Yeah. It used to be you'd get like 30,000 hits or something off of my name. I mean, between the books I've written and the software and the
right
and whatever else. But like I said, you probably just want to send me the email, and I can then send you. But like I said, do a search for my name on Amazon.com, and you'll get a list of 12 books or so.
Sounds like a plan. Listen, David, great hearing what you have to say, and what John also had to offer was amazing.
Yeah. It's for a minute there, I thought maybe he was somebody that I could send my inventions to, but he's saying you've got to have the money to finance it yourself. And like I said, what I'm looking for is a company, either a distributor who's willing to provide their own manufacturer, or a manufacturer who's willing to look for the distributors or something. And I just send them the prototype and the plans and take out a provisional patent first or something to protect it.
That's me.
I may be naive, but I think most of these companies that are actively seeking inventions, that put themselves out there and say, please send us your ideas, are probably not going to be in the habit of ripping people off, because if word gets around to do that, then people are just going to stop sending them things.
Right. The word gets out pretty quick with the internet.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to do too, because I cannot manufacture or market very well. I want someone else to grab it, love it, manufacture it, and sell it, and then I get a percentage, and that's it. That's all I want to do.
That's what I want to do, but like I said, I've done that with a few things a long time ago or something. But like I said, if it's something that you don't have to actually do anything with, like my software, like I said, the people just download the software and send me money if they want it, then that's practically passive income. All I have to do is send them an unlock code when they send me the money, like I said, I sell the STL files on some of these websites or something, and that's passive income too. So I'm with you. I don't want to get. Although, like I said, I am considering, just to try it or something, selling some things on Etsy or something, just to see how that works out or something. But it's got to be something that I can just stick in my mailbox.
Well, David, I've got tens of thousands of hours of CAD design. It's one of the things I do.
Of what?
CAD. Computer aided design.
Yeah. Okay.
In particular, I use. It's called. Well, let's see. There's a couple of them, but I tell you, 3D modeling is like nothing else. And you can think it, you design it, you make that STL file, you put it in your printer, and before you know it, it's printing your part out. And now you can hold it in your hand.
That's what I do. I think, like I said, I've probably made maybe 50 to 100 things. And I think only maybe once or twice have I actually downloaded somebody else's file and made it. And that's like if somebody wants a
Yeah.
for a Christmas present or something, and
Right.
you know, I mean, you know, but I mean, I make custom Christmas ornaments, you know, every year.
Sure, why not?
I make inventions. I make name tags. You know, like something. You know, I got one that says, you know, David Lighthouse, mad scientist, in
Yeah.
there, or something that I wear to the inventors groups and everything. Yeah, they're incredibly useful. Everybody should have one.
No kidding. But you know, learning CAD and the system I use is called Unigraphics. Have you heard of that one?
So what
Unigraphics.
is that a CAD program?
Oh, is it? Yes, it is.
Is that a free one, or is that it cost something?
Yeah. No, it costs me about $2,200 a year for the.
Yeah. See, I like this free stuff. I like I said, I use OpenSCAD, which is unusual. It's not one of these graphic things where you push and pull things with the mouse. You text describe things. You know, like you say, cube of dimensions X, Y, Z, or sphere of such and such a radius, or something like that, and then you basically describe all these things and you put them together, and you everything is written by description. There's no mouse work.
Oh, okay. I've not heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to, you might look into it. The OpenSCAD.
No, I know what I know, and what I do is enjoyable. It's productive. It works, and I'm going to stick with it.
Oh, okay. I just sometimes it's nice to have another tool in your toolbox just in case the one you've got
That's true.
that doesn't work or something. Or if you decide you're tired of paying $2,500 a year or something for it or something.
Yeah.
I'm cheap. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make money out of this, not spend a whole lot of money on it.
Well, there's lots of good ideas out there that never have a chance to go anywhere because, unfortunately, the wrong person thought of it and they don't want to do with it. They'll talk about it. They don't know how to design it. They know what it is, but they can't really go to the next level. Yeah. Another mistake that some people make, people who could have gotten moderately rich get incredibly greedy or something, and think that their product is going to be worth 100 times what they is worth. Yeah. I heard of a lady who invented the scratch off. Invented putting something on there, and this was for like lottery tickets or something. Sure. And of course some people like lottery ticket manufacturers were interested in it, but she wanted 50 cents a piece for this thing. For every lottery ticket that they put this on, she wanted 50 cents. Too much. Crazy. I mean, the lottery tickets sell for $1, and most of that goes to the prize money. So there's a point they eventually just said, "Sorry, lady, go away." But if she had settled for a tenth of a cent a piece or something, she probably would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, David, some people, if they're ever exposed to an opportunity to make money, you can see the greed come out. It's like ridiculous. They start talking about numbers that aren't reasonable, aren't going to work, and you just want to slap them and say, "Hey, listen, this is reality. You want to make something, or you want to make nothing," and they just don't understand it. Yeah, I mean, this lady is just such a great example of somebody who is totally unrealistic. And of course, another problem that some inventors have is being so enamored by their own idea that they won't consider any changes in it. Okay. They send it to somebody, they say, "Here's my invention," and the person says, "Well, yeah, it's good, but we got to make this change or something." No, my thing is perfect. Don't touch it. And then they refuse to make the deal because the people want to make some modification or something. Yeah. So I just want to make the money. If I come up with an idea and somebody says, "Hey, we'll give you $25,000 right off the bat for it or something. Just buy it one time, and we get to modify it." I say, "Sure, I'll give you $25,000."
I mean, royalties are nice, but again, at my age, one problem is, if you're going to wait for royalties, you got to plan on not getting anything for about 5 years.
Royalties? Wait, really? Okay, I've never gotten a royalty yet.
Well, it depends on the item, but I'm just saying, you got to bear in mind that the company has got to, first of all, they'll probably want to get their own patent or something, or, depending on
Sure.
if you have provisional patent. But, the point is that they're going to do some redesigning. They're going to have to get into manufacturing. They're going to have to get it out on the shelves, something. And remember, they don't get any money until it actually sells on the shelves, usually. When most of these companies, they
Yeah.
put it on the shelves, they don't get paid when they put it on the shelves. They get paid when it sells on the shelves.
Yeah.
And then it's you don't get a royalty each time something sells. You got to wait like 6 months or something, and then they do it. When you accumulate 6 months worth of stuff, then they give you the money or something.
Sure. Sure.
So if you look at all this, the whole gearing up for the manufacturing and getting it on the shelves and all like this, it'll easily be 3 to 5 years before you'll see a dime out of it if you're licensing.
Oh, it's a process, and it's very time consuming. I've got a number of patents, and they took a long time to, be issued. And I've only really sold one outright, and that was
that's another thing I was going to interject in the conversation. You talk about a patent costing like $10,000 to get, and from what I've read, maybe 1 out of 100 things that gets patented actually sells and makes money.
right.
And so, you've got to either have a really good idea or have a lot of money you can throw at this stuff, so that you may have to put out do 10 inventions or something easy, before one of them gets actually picked up and marketed.
Right.
Which is why I don't get into patenting. Like I said, I'll pay $60 for provisional patents. Which would discourage anybody from stealing it or something. And like I said, I'm not asking for $1 million. I'll take, tens of thousands of dollars right up front or something, and just you take it and roll with it.
That's the way to go, because you're making money. It's something to do, and then you move on to the next item. And you get better and better at it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've marketed over 100 items, so I'm one of these idea generator guys. I mean, I probably come up with a new idea once every week or two.
Yeah, I see a lot of things out there that could be improved and or completely changed quite a bit to make them easier to make, more useful, all those different things. And that's where the ideas come from.
Yeah, well, like I said, this thing I got for the pool skimmer, I was trying to get stuff off the bottom of my pool or something, and it wasn't going into the net and everything. And so it was like, I need a way to bend this around so it'll scoop under it. I'll make it.
Now, did you go to the Las Vegas hardware show?
No, I'm in Florida.
Doesn't matter. You fly out there to Las Vegas.
No, I just we got enough stuff in Florida here.
Okay.
I'm about an hour and a quarter's drive from Orlando.
Okay.
And Orlando's a fairly big hub for this sort of stuff.
I love Orlando. I love Disney World and Epcot Center. Been there quite a few times.
Oh, are you in Florida?
No, I'm in Arizona.
Yeah. I've taken out the annual passes for Disney a few times, and those things. But my point is that I also don't like to travel or something. So again, that's another thing. I want to do all my business by mail.
Yeah.
No,
I've been to Florida. I'll tell you, my wife and I we're scuba divers, and we like to go to Key West and all those places and do some diving.
I used to do a lot of scuba diving too. I went to college in Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, and there were a number of places you could just walk out to the beach and swim out
Sure.
500 feet or something and go down 15 feet, and you got big coral areas and the sunken wreck there and things like that. So but I haven't done that for quite a while.
Yep. Well, anyway, I see your 3D printer back there.
Yeah, that's one of them. I've
That's
actually
one of
got.
them.
Hold on a second here.
No, I see it.
I was just gonna
Oh,
point.
whoa, you got a few of them. Okay, very good.
Yeah, I've got I've got 4 that are actually working right now.
They have a lifespan, they do.
Well, I think I've probably had 8 or 9 at some point. Mostly it's some of them break down. Others I just decide I want better. As you get into it, you start wanting more colors or bigger or faster. I
Yep.
mean, the one over there I bought simply because I wanted faster. So it's a high speed printer there or something.
Yeah,
And-
I've been through
and,
a few
and-
printers. Yeah,
Yeah.
the latest one I have.
What?
It's a brand called Perusa. Have you heard about that one?
Yeah,
P-R-U-S-A, Perusa.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've seen it, on Amazon when I'm shopping for.
It's a nice printer, I'll tell you. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Well, the ones that the 2 that I'm running right now are 10 log. These are 2-color printers, and they have independent heads.
Oh, okay.
So so like when one's printing one color, the other one is completely off to the side, and then
Okay.
that one goes over and wipes itself off, and the other one comes and prints and everything. So you don't have the problem with the dripping. The one dripping while the other one is printing.
Okay. Well, anyway, listen, David, it's been a pleasure hearing you and John Thompson and everybody with those great ideas. And it's all about communication. Once you realize who is out there that you can talk to and get in, it's like Rita. She's a good communicator, hardworking.
Yeah.
Hopefully, she can help us all get our products to market.
Yeah, and if you ever decide you want any kind of collaboration or anything, again, like I said, I love to get together with somebody who has a different skill set and
Right.
say, I'll do this part of the invention, you do that part of the invention,
There
and
you
we'll
go.
share the royalties.
That sounds like a plan. David,
Okay,
listen,
well,
you have a great evening, and it's getting late for you.
you too.
It's only 6:30 here.
It's 9:24 here.
Yeah, bedtime.
Okay. Yeah.
For me,
Okay.
anyway.
Okay. Well, I hope to see you in a later meeting there.
Okay. Hey, listen, you take care.
And remember, put Inventor meeting in the subject line if you send me an email, because I will go through whole sections and just delete.
Okay.
Thinking that because I got too much spam.
Yeah, me too. Get in line, okay? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Right.
Okay.
And so I will mark whole blocks. Click on this, hold down the shift key, go down, hit the shift, click on another one. That whole thing is marked and hit delete.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll put my name in George in big bold letters. That way you can just
Well,
distinguish me from the rest of the. Huh?
That, like I said, if you put Inventor there, I can do a search. There's a little search box, and it'll say search for anything with Inventor in the name
Okay.
for the subject line, and that's how I'll find things.
We'll do it. Hey, you take care, David. Nice talking to you, sir.
You too.
Bye-bye.